Angela and Caroline Kendall are up.
Wait, we got a district commissioner. Hold on. It's Clem.
I told you it was Clem.
Well, thanks.
You don't have my
I
picture.
can see
How
him.
come?
We therefore have a quorum. Thank
Where's my
God.
picture?
If you click on District Commissioner, look over
I can
there.
see me up in the right-hand corner. You should be up.
Right, yeah, I see. Oh, I don't, that's an ugly looking guy.
See, they just don't like people that play golf. That's what it is.
Right. Why, Clem, why?
Where did he disappear to?
Well, he tried to admit, I'm not sure.
There he is. He's back.
He's back.
He's back. Clem, can you hear us? I don't think you can.
Hold on. Clem, you are muted. You've got to unmute on your screen at the bottom.
That it?
Unmute.
Got me now?
Yes.
Yep.
Gotcha.
Okay.
We have 9 minutes to go before the meeting officially starts.
Caroline.
She can hear you, but she can't speak.
Oh, okay.
She's muted.
I can unmute myself. Hi there.
Hi.
Hi. I just wondering, you going to be at that meeting tomorrow?
I am, and
Sunday,
I think there's another one on Sunday. Tomorrow, Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday. There are meetings on both days. They're different meetings.
Yeah, the one's with lawyer Shaheen on Monday.
And the other one is Conservation Law Foundation's report on how their report on how the permit is really workable and affordable for all the communities with over the next 20 years. That one should be interesting.
I did sign up for that one. I should. What time on Tuesday is that?
Let me look and get back to you. I don't remember.
I'll look at the email. I got it there somewhere.
Yeah, it's in there somewhere. I
I
know.
saw the announcement. That's not happening?
Who's it from? Melissa
Conservation
Pauley?
law.
Tuesday, June 16th, 1 to 3.
Mhm.
Look at that.
Yeah, Clem, all I can say is they're all important going forward because we're getting closer and closer to trying to, I think the community's making a decision about what to do now and how to go
Yeah.
forward.
I saw the email on that one, conservation law, but I didn't do anything with it. I will.
I think it'll be really, there's a report with it in that email. You might review it. It speaks specifically to what they think the implications are for each of the communities. What I noticed, I didn't digest the whole thing, but what I noticed was that they think septic retrofits are going to cost $4,000 per unit. And I remember the report we got from, I think it was Rochester's engineer that just ran some preliminary numbers, came up with closer to $10,000 to $15,000 per unit. So, I think we have more non-scientifically based information. We can all take numbers and play with them in a different way and come up with something else to talk about. But I'm not sure where the truth lies. Particularly because they're an organization that has a motive. That's their job.
Are you suggesting they have an ulterior motive?
I'm suggesting that they are the Conservation Law Foundation. So wouldn't you know that that's like their mission is to, protect and conserve. So not to look out for, the taxpayers' interest or equity and improvements or, scientifically based solutions that really meet a particular goal or anything else. That being said, I appreciate conservation. Just throwing that out there.
Yeah. It's a different viewpoint.
Yes.
Hmm.
Well, they have money to throw at a goal, and anybody who has money to throw at a goal can do it in a way that isn't necessarily objective. When you're going after a goal, you can make that happen. And I don't mean to say I don't believe in what they're saying. I wouldn't go that far. I don't have any scientific understanding to decide I agree or don't agree. But it's just interesting to know, the discrepancy coming from an organization that has an interest. That's all.
Yeah, well, should listen to it anyways, and a different viewpoint, and see what happens.
I'll be more interested in what I expect will be the subsequent meeting of all the communities to say, okay, now we heard from, the attorney, and we heard from Conservation Law Foundation people. Now what? What do we think of that? And to hear from the communities about, what their scientists and engineers have said about what the report from the foundation says. That'll be interesting, because I'm sure there will be another meeting following that to regroup and say, hey, communities, what are we going to do with this?
Yeah, it'll probably be several more before it's all over.
Right.
So. More minutes?
Yep. Clem, what does your clock say on your computer? On the computer.
1:58.
Okay. That's what we're going to use as our time.
1400.
That's
It
what I
is.
have too.
Me too. All right. I call the meeting to order. We need to do a roll call of the commissioners. Clem, I can see you.
I'm
Is
here.
there, okay, but is there anyone else in the room?
No, just me.
Okay.
And Max, my dog.
Oh, well, okay. Bob, is there
I'm
anyone
here.
else? Huh?
I'm here. There's no one else here.
Very good. We have a quorum. We will move to the agenda. And if I can get it up here. All right. First of all, we're going to review and or approval or modification of the May 20th, 2020 minutes. Do you guys have those?
I had a copy.
I had a copy. I read them. I don't have them in front of me. They're on the computer.
Okay. Are there any changes, adjustments, or corrections you wish to make to the minutes?
None.
None.
Okay. For the minutes, no changes. I need a motion to accept the minutes as submitted. Who did? Who said that?
I did.
Who
So moved.
seconds?
Seconded, Bob.
Okay. I'll vote by roll call. Clem, do you vote
Yes.
to accept?
Yes.
Robert, do you vote to accept?
I do.
And I do too. Okay. The next item on the agenda is the review of new invoices and purchase orders. Now, I don't know if you guys have gotten this yet. Hold on. Somebody wants to come in. Mike, I guess. Don't know who that is. All right.
Of course you do.
I don't know who Mike is. Anyway, we have currently...
Mike, excuse me, but Mike lives on, he lives on Willie Street Extension.
Okay. It's more the point of what is Mike's last name. Anyone know? Okay, that's all right.
He lives down the street.
It's
Okay.
know.
Gibbons, and it's
Gibbons.
414 Locust Street, not Willie.
Okay. All right.
Across from the school.
Okay. The aged payables. These are items that are in our payables folder. Checks have not been written yet. We have $19,690 in payables as of basically today. Oh, okay. Who's next? Admit. Of that, $15,030.71 is a bond payment to Northway Bank. We anticipate that we will have another bill coming up for payables to the New Hampshire Bond Bank for $41,000, which is due July 17th, I believe. So between all of those, we have, let me quickly figure that. 690 plus 41. That's strange. Okay, 19,690 plus 41, 123. Keep hitting the wrong button. 690 plus 41. We've got about $80,000 in, that can't be right. 19,690 plus 41, 123 plus. We've got about $61,000 in payables that are coming up fairly quickly, including those that are currently in the payables folder.
Okay,
All of them,
question.
huh?
Question.
What?
The one, the $41,000, that's a sewer bond?
That is, yes, that's the sewer bond.
And the other one is water, the 153071?
Yes. That was used to belong to the USDA, and they sold it off to Northway Bank bought it, and renegotiated it on a quarterly payment as opposed to a semi-annual payment.
And the 19,690 payables, how much is that as water, how much is sewer?
It, I would have to rerun the report in order to get an idea. Some of it's administrative cost, like South Berwick Sewer. That's obviously sludge treatment. That's 37,080. Some of this stuff is rather small. Levelette Control is $255. That's basically for the SCADA system, mostly for sewer. Triana Waste, of that 19,690, remember 15,000 of it is the bond payment. So the rest of it is relatively small.
Okay,
It does not break out between water and sewer in payables, but we can do that if you want in the future.
excuse me.
Oh, you have the same problem I do. Are there, Bob, do you have any questions about payables?
I do not. I know what the problem is there. Go ahead.
Okay.
Okay, bye. Sorry about that.
No, it happens. I've had the same problem.
I was off.
Okay, let's move on to the next item in the agenda, which is, okay. All right, don't do that. It took it away. Oh, no, there it is. All right. Review of the expense report and budget data to date. I think I sent that out to the commissioners, but let me explain what we have. Let's get up to this. For water, we have some expenses now in June. If we were just considering May, and met our budget exactly, we would be at 41%. However, we have some expenses. Okay, hold on. Who wants to come in? Okay, admit. Yeah, then I lose my place. However, one of them was a $12,000 repair to a water main break, literally right outside my house in June. But including that, we are at 38% of our budget, which is pretty good. If we go to sewer, wastewater, if you will, we also have expenses. Did someone ask to come in? No.
William Hendrick.
Well, no, he's already admitted.
Okay.
At 40, remember, May would be 41% of the year. If it was even, we have some expenses in the month of May, but even with that, we are at 40% of our budget, which is pretty good. We're tracking well on expenses. Are there any questions from the commissioners?
No.
Okay. We don't have I don't think the only purchase order we have is for chemicals for the water district, water side of the house. This is like a whole bunch of caustic and something else, and I honestly don't know. We haven't gotten an invoice on it yet, so I don't really know how much it is, but it's probably going to be fairly pricey because they bought a month's worth of supply. Okay?
Plus rates went up on chemicals in this past spring anyway.
Right. Actually, I have to circle back to the beginning. I have a statement that's supposed to be read at the beginning of the meeting. Okay. The right to know law meeting checklist. As chair of the board, what? Who's speaking?
No one.
No one. All right. Sorry, Mike, I got to mute you because we get feedback. All right. Going back to this. As chair of the Board of Commissioners of the district, due to the COVID-19 coronavirus crisis and in accordance with Governor Sununu's Emergency Order Number 12, pursuant to Executive Order 2020-4, this board is authorized to meet electronically. Please note there is no physical location to observe or listen contemporaneously, which means at the same time, to the meeting, which was authorized pursuant to the governor's emergency order. However, in accordance with the emergency order, this is to confirm that we are A, providing public access. We are utilizing the Google G Suite Net Meeting platform for this electronic meeting. All members of the board have the ability to communicate contemporaneously during this meeting through the Net Meeting platform, and the public has access to contemporaneously listen and, if appropriate, participate in this meeting through dialing the following phone numbers, which are on the website. I'm not going to repeat that, or follow the link that's on the website. Providing public notice. We previously gave notice to the public of how to access the meeting using Net Meeting, and instructions were provided on the district's website, at our website, and by posting at the post office. We have met the requirement of posting in 2 public places, one of which was our website. Providing a mechanism for the public. If there are problems with access they must let us know via the chat feature on Net Meeting. If anyone has a problem beyond that or cannot join, please email at commissioner@rollinsfordwatersewer.org. Adjourning the meeting. If anyone is unable to access the meeting, we will adjourn the meeting and have it rescheduled at a later time, which is, as many of you know, happened. Please note that all votes that are taken during this meeting shall be done by roll call vote. Let's start the meeting by taking roll call. We did that. When each member states their presence, also state whether there is anyone in the room with you during this meeting, which is required under the right to know law. We wish to also point out, pause, admit. Hold on a sec. Okay. We also wish to point out, pause. Where is it? Now I lost my place. Crap. We wish to also point out that this is a public meeting and will be recorded. I'm starting the recording now. Sorry, got too many irons in the fire. There is no expectation of privacy in a public meeting, and participation or attendance, hold on, someone else went and beeped me. Participation or attendance is your consent to waive claim of privacy. Also, all the rules, regulations, and laws pertaining to public meetings, especially those in RSA 91A, apply. This meeting will be held in an orderly manner, and comments and questions will be addressed as time permits at the end of the meeting, but must pertain to the items on the agenda. All participants in the meeting will be initially muted and must request to speak by using the chat function of the platform. Only registered voters of the district will be permitted to speak. Therefore, anyone wishing to speak must identify themselves and their address before speaking, the same as in a meeting held in person. Disruptive conduct on the part of participants after he or she has been warned may result in dismissal from the meeting. We also wish to point out guidance from the New Hampshire Municipal Association. The right to know law, RSA 91A, is rooted in Part 1, Article 8 of the New Hampshire Constitution, which protects the public's right of access to governmental proceedings. However, the right to know law is devoted to assuring that meetings of public bodies shall be open and governmental records available to the public. emphasis. The statute does not create a right to speak at public meetings. What about constitutional right to be heard? There is no absolute right to speak at a public meeting. As the United States Supreme Court put it, the Constitution does not grant to members of the public generally a right to be heard by public bodies making decisions of policy. Okay. Now that having been said, we go back to the agenda. Cash flow and emergency orders. Order number 3. Unfortunately, the governor issued a thing called emergency order number 3, which says, in part, all providers of electric, gas, water, telephone, cable, VoIP, internet, and deliverable fuels service in the state of New Hampshire are hereby prohibited from disconnecting or discontinuing service for non-payment for the duration of the state of emergency declared in the Executive Order 2020-4. For the purpose of this order, deliverable fuels include propane, fuel oil, and heating oil. Now, at the end of the state of emergency, customers having arrearages accrued during the state of emergency shall be provided with the opportunity to make a reasonable payment arrangement over no less than a 6-month period and shall not be charged any fees for late payments for arrearages accrued during the state of emergency. No provision in this order shall be construed as relieving a customer of their obligation to pay bills for receipt of any service covered by this order. Now, the result of that is that our receivables are growing and growing and growing. And we are having a hard time. We can't collect or get people to pay their bills with the threat of shutting them off. We went from about $20,000 at the beginning of March. We're now almost $45,000 in unpaid and arrearage bills. That presents a problem because, as we discussed earlier, we have about $60,000 in anticipated expenses coming up very soon, but our balance sheet shows we've only got about $28,000 in our bank account. As a result of that, we have to consider what we're going to do. Now, one of the things that we may have to do or may have to consider is taking money from our what's called the New Hampshire Public Deposit Investment Pool, or NIDIP, which has $315,000 in it. Thank God we've got at least that reserve account, but we're going to probably have to dip into that in order to pay the bills, because the one thing we cannot do is default on a bond payment. In fact, by law, the only thing that has to be paid is the bond payment. All other debts take secondary position to the bond payment. That was great news to us. Now, let's move on to the next one. Acceptance of unanticipated funds per RSA 31:95B. We had, who's rattling around out there? Is that you, Clem? No. Probably Bob. Okay. We had a leak of muriatic acid at the wastewater plant. The cleanup costs for that was nearly $7,000. Not quite, about $68.99, but let's round it up. Our insurance company reimbursed us less the $1,000 deductible, $5,899.39. I need a motion to accept the unanticipated funds. So we've got to do a roll call again. Clem?
You want the motion first?
I want a motion first.
So move.
Okay.
Seconded.
All right. We'll call for a roll call vote.
Yes.
And I vote yes. Okay. We will therefore accept the $58.99.39. Next, we have an agreement with Mick Construction for emergency services. We have been using various construction companies sort of as they become available. And one of the things that we'd like to do is designate Mick Construction as our emergency go-to person for emergency situations, things like fixing broken lines in the street or something that requires heavy-duty construction equipment. The reason for that is, one, they're right nearby. Two, they have every piece of equipment we could ever want for construction. And three, they probably buried and know where every pipe in this town is that services wastewater or water. I need a motion to have this letter of agreement with Mick Construction.
Bob, I will make a motion that we accept Mick Construction.
Okay. Clem?
I'll second it.
Okay. We now do a roll call vote.
Aye. Clem?
Wait, no, you got to tell me what we got to do it by roll call. Clem?
Aye.
Robert?
Aye.
And I vote aye. All right. We will execute. It's just a memorandum of agreement, and that's all it is. I mean, if they can't do it, then we'll look around for someone else. But, I mean, they're literally right up the street, and they've got every piece of equipment we could imagine. Oh, someone else wants to come in. Okay. Where are they? They popped up and then they disappeared. Oh, well. Clem, do you have them on your screen?
No.
Okay, well.
It was Jennifer Lentz and 9 more. It didn't say who it was. No, it's Scott Locke and 9 more.
No. It's somebody named Foss, I believe. Well, hopefully that person will try again. Okay. Now, we've agreed. Okay, we've come to 9, which is public comment on agenda items only. If you would like to speak, you would make a motion. Okay. Well, hi, everybody. It's not. Okay. I'm going to speak to Angela Matthews. Was the recording for the last G Suite meeting posted publicly? If you're talking about on Wednesday, it wasn't a meeting because we couldn't adjourn, so it wasn't posted publicly. This one will be, however. I hope that answers your question.
This is Angela Matthews, 437 Locust Street. It partly answers my question. I was curious about the meeting 2 weeks before that, where significant decisions were made about a contract with an outside agency, and I've not seen that posted anywhere, and I wondered if the recording of that will be posted.
I reviewed it, and G Suite uses an MP4 format. Everybody sounded like Alvin from Alvin and the Chipmunks, and what we're trying to do is downgrade it so that it sounds normal and be able to match the process as it goes through. And we think we're there, but we're not actually sure because you have to go all the way through the recording to make sure it did it all the way through. I mean, it made it almost impossible to understand what people were saying because they were talking like Alvin from Alvin and the Chipmunks. I don't know why. This one probably will process better because we know what the bit rate required is. Okay, let's go back to chat. Where can I get a copy of the agenda for today's meeting? It'll be posted with a link on the website. The minutes of the last meeting are posted. And this is more of, can you post the agenda in the chat thread? No, I can't. I don't know how to do that. I don't think you can. Based on the opening statements, comments expressly, based on the opening statement, are comments expressing disagreement with the commissioners considered disruptive and grounds for muting or disconnecting? No. But if it becomes personal, yes, we will. Do you have something you want to say, Angela?
You're calling on me, so I don't think I need to introduce myself again. No, I'm just concerned about people who might feel intimidated by the opening statement and just want to be sure that people feel like they can comment honestly about their concerns. So that was the source of the question.
Okay. The idea is to not start argumentation and accusation. Is like, the legitimate requests that were made before is like, where is the agenda? Are the minutes going to be posted? Those are legitimate. But if it's, you're doing something wrong and illegal, you will probably get at least muted and possibly booted. Allison Cullen. The commissioners do not vote to take money out of the NIDIP account. That is within the authority of the treasurer. However, the treasurer has to issue payments for anything approved by the commissioners. We're just saying money will have to come out of that account.
Will it be taken out of water or sewer individually, or you can do just one?
It is one large lump of money. The report you get will reflect a diminution of the water side and the sewer side. Wastewater side.
Okay.
Jill Gallant, 432 Spruce Street. I totally agree with your decision to enter into a letter of agreement with MIC Construction. Makes perfect sense. Is there going to be any dollar amount noted in this letter of agreement, or is it just going to be a wide open, whatever they want to charge us?
Well, in every repair situation we've ever been in the past, you have no idea what it's going to end up costing you. It's like your car breaks down, you take it to the garage, the guy says, well, we'll just have to see what's wrong with it, and then they let you know what the price is. Well, we have the same problem. Something goes really afoul. You don't know, is it a minor problem? Is it a major problem? We can't fix a price in advance. Are there more?
This is Bob. I'd like to make a comment.
Yes.
We've had some incidents recently, and we had no idea what the cost was, and it came out rather prohibitively. That was part of the reason why I was in favor of picking somebody local who had the equipment and knew the job and got it done right the first time.
Okay. Well, my experience with MIC Construction is if they don't do it right the first time, they come back and do it correctly for free because they stand behind their work. More chat? No. MIC Construction uses there's an hourly rate for the employee. There's an hourly rate for the equipment. There's an hourly subcontract if they have to call in someone. It depends on what they're doing. That's for Robert Kavanaugh.
Jill Gallant again, that was the point I was trying to make. Do they have posted rates for whatever they provide for services? Obviously, if it's an emergency, I get that, we don't know, what the end result is going to be. But I know when I take my car into the garage, if it's going to have an oil change or a brake job or whatever, there are posted rates for those services.
I agree, and I understand that. But many times what you've got is a disaster in front of you, and you have no idea what the problem is or what it's going to take to repair it. Oil changes are pretty standardized. Rotating tires and balancing tires, pretty standardized. But when you come to something that's a smoking mess, you don't know what you're going to run into. So it's kind of hard to set a fee.
There's hourly rates.
Pardon? Somebody said something?
Can you hear me? Maybe you can. I didn't. I thought I was muted. I thought I'd muted myself. This is Marcia Gibson, 710 Main Street here in Rollinsford.
Okay, you're coming in on video or you're coming in on phone?
Phone.
What are the last 2 digits of your phone number?
47.
47.
7427, excuse me. 7427. It's 27. Yeah, sorry about that.
Okay.
I was just saying, but there are hourly rates for some of the different services. Well, I understand what you were saying. It makes sense that if there's an emergency, we're not going to know. So I was just sort of commenting under my breath. Well, we've got hourly rates for, basic things. We have some fees for that. That's good enough. That's good enough for me.
I mean, like I said, you show up as a smoking mess. Do I need an excavator or do I need a bulldozer?
Right, exactly. I'm not arguing.
Yeah, it's like, that's the way life is. That's the way it's always been, too.
Right. Well, it's great to have, if they're in agreement, it's great to have a local company that, like you said, has all the right equipment, is right here in town. I think that's a great idea.
Thank you.
So how do I mute myself so that you don't hear me if I'm talking under my breath?
Press *6 on your phone.
Great. Thank you. And I'll still be able to listen. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Hold on.
There, you're muted. Okay, I'm looking for other questions. William Hendrick. They're not going to do non-emergency work. They're only going to do emergencies, disasters, basically. For Robert Kavanaugh, all service agreements I have signed have hourly rates, emergency rate. Well, we don't know what equipment they'll need. They don't know. Are they going to need 2 people to do it? They're going to need 6 people to do it. Are they going to need 2 trucks? There's no way to predict. And again, I repeat, there's no such thing as a non-emergency. They'll only be called in on an emergency. Angela Matthews, if there's an emergency, for example, a water main break, the wastewater staff is not going to handle it. Emergencies like that are handled by construction companies, not by staff. Are there any other questions, comments? I guess not. Going once, going twice. There we go.
It's still Gallant, and it's unrelated to today's meeting, but do you have any feel for whether or not we're going to be able to hold a public annual meeting on the 24th with the restrictions of masks?
I'm sorry. We have to restrict comments to the agenda items. I can't discuss that. Things are in flux with that, and it's very complicated to explain, but they're exploring an alternative voting process. This is our attorney and the Secretary of State. They're working on something.
Okay, thank you.
That's the best I can tell you.
Angela Matthews, 437 Locust Street. I am aware of districts, school districts, and other districts around the state of New Hampshire that have voted, towns that were unable to hold their annual meetings, that have already voted, and they did it by a ballot, and I don't see why it's so complicated with our small district that could not be an alternative here in Rollinsford. so that all of us can have our voice in this democratic process. So I don't understand why the commissioners are resisting and delaying when there are solutions that have been accepted by the Secretary of State and the Attorney General and the Governor as acceptable.
Okay, Angela, this has to do with RSA 669 versus RSA 670 versus unofficial ballot versus official ballot. It is a lot more complicated than because other towns voted that way, we can too. We can't. But we're looking into an alternative approach, but we've got to run it by the Attorney General, the Secretary of State's office, and our attorneys so they can all come to an agreement on a process. I think if we can pull it off, and that's the big question, you'll like it. But you got to wait for the details to be ironed out. And they're working on it. They're working on it, I believe, this weekend. How much has been spent on legal fees so far this year? Let me look at our balance sheet. Oh, no, I'd have to have an income statement to do that. Actually, not that much. I think it's like $2,000 or something. Not much. The matter of legal fees. This is where legal fees get used, is trying to figure out an alternative way to get voting done for the annual meeting without hazarding people in front of COVID-19. That's part of it. Okay? We're trying to do this right. We need some guidance from the Secretary of State and our attorney. That's where it costs money. Okay. If there are no more. Oh, we do have one. Jennifer Lentz. Yeah. Will the quality of the water and sewer output be agenda item? In this meeting? No. We are anticipating getting reports from our new contractor about Porter Wells. Should this be a standing topic? It's never been in the past. I don't know why it should be a standing topic in the future. We are going to have a report, though, about Porter Well.
I guess, Mike Byrne, this is Jen Lentz, 439 Prospect Street. The reason I bring it up is because if there were to be concerns about the quality of the water or the sewer effluent, based on what you've said, we would not be able to discuss it as a topic because it was not an agenda item. So my recommendation is that so that somebody could bring up a concern about water or sewer, that it should be an agenda item.
I tell you what, if you have a specific concern about a specific operational issue, can you please email us? So that we can, I mean, there may be background information we need to gather, and therefore it would be helpful. I mean, if you say, you know, how much has been processed through the wastewater plant in the last 30 days, it's like, I have no idea. But if you email it to us first, we can at least research it. Allison Cullity, is Porter Well running currently? No, it is not. It hasn't been run since November of last year. We're trying to bring it back online, but it's complicated. I think oops, one more. All right. Oh, thank you. Well, okay. Any other comments, questions, concerns? No, there is. Okay, is there a cost associated with having Nick on call? No, there is not. They're paid for services rendered. Is there a standard voting guidance from the state that also addresses concerns about COVID, yet moves forward with an annual meeting? Not really. There was a guy, oh God, what's his name? A guy from the Secretary of State's office says, why don't you rent a tent? It's like, that's not advice. Why should we need to use legal fees and not follow the guidance? The guidance doesn't address this particular problem. We are unique in that regard. Because we never accepted the provisions of RSA 669, we don't have an official or unofficial ballot process for the district. We're one of the few municipalities in the state that doesn't. What decision? Allison Cullity, the clerk and the moderator, part of the decision. What decision? The moderator has authority, the clerk does not. We would have to study that. William Hendrick, how do we get the quality of the water and the sewer output to be a standard agenda item? We'd have to study how it would be done. The water quality right now is excellent. The output is, as far as I know, the usual amount that one would expect for this time of the year and meets all the standards and requirements of DES and our permit. By the way, just to sort of follow up on William Hendrick's question, we will be sending out the Consumer Confidence Report by the end of June, which talks about what is the water quality like. It doesn't address wastewater, but it does address drinking water. And I think you're going to find that we have pretty darn good water here in town now. But that's only because we're using General John Sullivan. We're not using Porter Well. What is that sound?
I think it's your cat in the background.
Oh, okay. Sorry. Okay. I'm going to entertain a motion to...
Schedule next meeting?
Wait a minute. We're going to address these final two things. William Hendrick, I can't address that. Jennifer Lentz, why isn't the management of the annual meeting an agenda topic? How can it be managed outside your meetings? Well, first of all, we need all the legal niceties taken care of, and then we may well have a special meeting, not an annual meeting, a special meeting. I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
Seconded.
I said I will entertain a motion.
I will make the motion then.
Okay. And Robert has motion to adjourn has been made by Robert.
I'll second it.
No, it was made by Clem. Seconded by Robert. I will roll call vote. Clem?
Aye. Robert?
Aye.
Okay, I vote aye. The meeting is therefore adjourned. Thank you very much for your participation. We look forward to another, God help us, electronic meeting, And now if you would all sort of back out of the meeting so I don't have to dismiss you one person at a time, I would appreciate that. It's a long and tedious process. Thank you. Thank you. Hello, the rest of you?